Hi guys, today we're going to learn in the Kaskantine how to make a worm hotel. Here's Erica.
Hello!
She's going to explain you everything about vermicomposting. Erica!
Hi, how are you doing today? So to start off with your vermicomposting, you need 3 buckets. You get these buckets from your fry shops, and make sure that when you get these buckets as well, you're getting the lids, as they are important to help hold up your buckets. And then you just use one of these knives to cut everything out, and you'll be all good. So, starting with, the bottom one is with no holes, as we're going to be leaving it where the juice will get collected. We're gonna put a lid on top so it prevents the other bucket from falling down, as you need space for the liquid to be gathered. Next, for this one, is where your worms will actually be living. So what we need to do is create an environment that mimics nature. So we need to make sure that the moisture level is exactly what you would find out in the forest floor. So what we're going to do is create holes at the bottom of this in 2 millimeters to make sure that the worms are not able to fall through them, and about 20 to 30 to make sure there's an adequate amount of moisture and drainage happening. So what's really important when you're draining, make sure that you gather all the plastic and that none of it is floating away or getting picked up somewhere else. So we're gonna have a drill, and we're gonna create about 20 to 30 holes. All right, and when you did about 20 to 30 holes, we're gonna move around to the top, about maybe 10 centimeters down around the circumference, and you're gonna make another set of holes, 4 millimeters in size, to create more aeration flow through. So what you're going to do as well, maybe about 20 around. And if you notice that your holes are a little bit clogged up from some of the plastic, all you gotta do is file them down, inside and outside. And make sure that you gather up all the soil or all the plastic so it doesn't get into your soil. All right, so to speed things up, I did one prior. And if you can see through, there is about 20 to 30 holes in the bottom at 2 millimeters and around the circumference as well, 4 millimeters. So now we're gonna place it on top, and we can start to create your bedding for your worms. So for the bedding, we're going to use some just cardboard, and a little bit of leaves. Right. This bedding is to help your worms get used to their new environment, just to start them out. You're going to add some dirt as well. We just want to ensure that they have a nice, comfortable space to live in at first. And to make sure that it's still mimicking the forest, we're going to add a little bit of water. Not too much, just to make it a little bit moist. And make sure that you can't see the bottom. Add a little bit more, some more soil. And this is where they'll live for the first couple of weeks until they create more castings and move up in the bucket. Next, now that we have some worm bedding, we're going to add the worms. So when you get your worms, they might be all bunched together. So you gotta dig down and find them. As they're gonna be wanting to live amongst each other and create more moisture, they'll be bundled up. So move some the bedding aside and maybe just cover them up so they feel comfortable. Add some more soil. And perfect, so now we have their bedding. So what's really important is that this does not reach over 30 degrees. Their temperature, if it gets too hot, it could cause them to die. You need to make sure that it's out of the sun so you can control the temperature in a shady area. Make sure that there's a lot of airflow throughout the area. And next, what's really important is how you're gonna feed them. We need to feed them with carbon-rich and nitrogen-rich foods. So carbon-rich foods are anything brown, like paper, leaves, any tree, woodland material. Also nitrogen-rich stuff is like veggies, you know, we have some coffee grounds, you have the bedding material, which is like the leaves that we'll be doing it for, any fruits that you have. And make sure that when you first start them out, they need to get accustomed to their new environment. So maybe only feed them once a week and monitor what they're doing. And if they're eating the food, continue to fill in more. The food should be 1 cup nitrogen rich and 2 cups carbon rich food. So we'll talk about some of the food that they could eat is, paper and veggies, coffee, tea, bedding material. Do not give them any meat, no citrus, no dairy, no onions, no garlic, no bread, and no cooked foods. And just keep a monitor of what they're eating. Peels of oranges is not okay, right, because there's no citrus, but peels of bananas also need to be cut and broken down, as the more you break down your food that you feed them, the more bacteria can grow. And that's why it's important to have carbon and nitrogen ratio, as it provides an environment that allows the bacteria to grow at a steady pace. So if you have too much carbon in your worm compost, it will slow down decomposing, and you notice that the food will not be getting eaten as much because bacteria is not growing on it. If there is too much nitrogen, it's going to release an ammonia gas, which will then create a smell to it, which won't be pleasant. So each worm weighs about 1 gram. Each worm can eat half their weight a day. But remember, starting out, just monitor them getting used to and comfortable into their environment, and then the more they get relaxed, the more you can feed them. What also you should be looking out for is the smell of the forest. We also are going to notice that there's going to be more insects that are going to be inside your compost. They'll start having babies, and they're going to decompose the food at a nice rate. So thank you for watching, and see you again soon.